This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
In our first 3 cases this season, we've taken you deep into the mysteries of women who disappeared and were never found. No bodies, no arrests, no trials. But this case is different. On May 10th, 2020, Mother's Day, Suzanne Morphew vanished from her home near Salida, Colorado. She was a beloved wife, a devoted mother of 2 teenage daughters, and a former school teacher who had just battled cancer for the 2nd time and come out on the other side. At first, this story looks familiar. A small-town disappearance, a search, a bike found off an embankment. But unlike the other women we've covered, Tanetta Carlisle, Brandy Hall, and Tara Calico, Suzanne's case has moved forward. Slowly, messily, but forward. Her remains have been found. An arrest has been made. And an indictment was just refiled 3 weeks ago. On June 20th, 2025, the 12th Judicial District Attorney's Office announced that a grand jury had once again indicted Barry Morphew, Suzanne's husband, on charges of first-degree murder. This case has twisted and stalled for over 5 years, dropped charges, conflicting timelines, bizarre surveillance footage, and allegations of manipulation. But now, for the first time, it's going to trial, and it all starts with a bike that didn't crash, a man with too many trash stops, and a family still waiting for justice. My name is Sarah Reed, and this is Sequestered Season 2, The Disappearance and Death of Suzanne Morphew, Part 1. It was a Sunday, May 10th, 2020, Mother's Day. The country was about 30 days into a nationwide shutdown from the COVID-19 pandemic. I know we can all relate when I say that spring felt strange. Everything was quiet, suspended. Back then, life was just upside down. We were still sanitizing groceries, figuring out how to work from home, go to school on a screen, and celebrate birthdays from the driveway. Everyone was trying to adjust. And the people of Salida, Colorado, like everywhere else, were learning how to live in this new kind of stillness, too. That morning started off cold, in the low 30s at sunrise. But by midday, the mountain sun had warmed the valley. It was the kind of day where the sky stretched wide, the breeze smelled like pine and thawed earth. It should have been a good day, the kind where kids bring flowers, or make pancakes, or leave little notes on the kitchen counter. Under normal circumstances, it would have been a perfect, peaceful start to Mother's Day. But nothing about that day stayed normal for long. About 15 minutes outside of downtown Salida, at the end of a winding dirt road, sat a striking home on Puma Path. Barry and Suzanne Morphew bought it 2 years earlier in 2018 for just over $1.5 million. It was a modern mountain-style home with stone and stucco, warm wood beams, and big windows facing the mountains. Inside, there were vaulted ceilings, hardwood floors, and a huge stone fireplace. Outside, the home sat on 8 acres of open land, scattered with wild grasses and pines. It was private, expansive, quiet. They'd left Indiana behind and moved here for a fresh start, a new life tucked away in the Colorado wilderness. And on paper, it looked perfect. Barry was running a successful landscaping and excavation business. He specialized in high-end residential work, tree removal, retaining walls, foundations. It was a job that paid well and let him be outside, which he loved. Suzanne, who had once worked as a school teacher, was now focusing on their 2 daughters and rebuilding her strength. She had beat cancer twice and was focusing on her health, her family, and the kind of life you build when you think you've made it through the worst. But by the afternoon, something felt off. Suzanne wasn't answering texts. And by the time the sun started to dip behind the mountains, Barry Morphew would be talking with police outside his family home. Barry woke up early that morning, supposedly around 4:30 a.m. He had to drive to Broomfield, which was about 3 hours away, to work on a retaining wall his company was installing. He told police Suzanne was still sleeping when he walked out the door. According to his phone records, at 5:38 a.m., Barry's phone pinged just outside of Buena Vista, Colorado, as he was driving north on Highway 285 towards Bailey. He arrives in Broomfield a little after 8 a.m., and then things start to get strange. At 8:10 a.m., Barry stops to throw away trash at an RTD bus stop on Highway 36. Then, surveillance footage shows Barry pull into the parking lot of a Holiday Inn Express in Broomfield. At 8:35 a.m., he's seen walking into the lobby after putting something in the trash can outside. Police later reported, quote, "He said he parked there because he hoped someone would come out and he could go in the hotel before checking in and get a free breakfast," end quote. At 8:41 a.m., Barry sent a text to Suzanne.
"You up? Happy Mother's Day. I love you. I made it to Broomfield. Call me when you get a chance."
Suzanne didn't reply, which was not unusual because cell service was spotty at their house. Barry left the hotel at 10:10 a.m., carrying a charcoal long-sleeve shirt, 2 white bags, and a pair of boots. But before heading to the work site, surveillance shows him dumping more trash at multiple other locations around Broomfield. A McDonald's, a car wash, even a men's warehouse. Some of the stops lasted seconds, some longer. He later told police it was just food wrappers and random stuff. But he never explained why he was making so many stops or why he was so focused on finding places to throw things away. Just before noon, Barry finally made it to the job site where he said he was planning to repair a retaining wall. He moved a few stones around, but he was only there for less than 30 minutes because apparently work was prohibited on Sundays due to pandemic restrictions. Okay, so why make the trip at all? Barry returned to the Holiday Inn Express around 12:30 p.m. On his way back inside, surveillance caught him tossing more items into the outdoor trash can, including a full white trash bag, a black container, and what looked like a camouflage coat. He wouldn't leave his room again until 5:55 p.m. Around 3:30 p.m., he sent Suzanne another text.
"Call me."
Still, no answer. And then, at 5:15, the call came. But it wasn't Suzanne. It was their neighbor, Jean Ritter. She told Barry she'd been trying to reach Suzanne all day and hadn't been able to get a hold of her. And their daughters, Mallory and Macy, who were on a road trip through Utah and Idaho with Mallory's best friend at the time. They'd been texting Suzanne all morning too. First with simple Happy Mother's Day messages, then with more concern as the silence stretched on. Eventually, Jean walked over to the Morphew house herself. She saw Suzanne's Range Rover parked in the garage. Her purse and belongings were still inside, but her mountain bike was gone. And that was odd because she would normally drive to her preferred biking trail each day. It's unclear how that phone call between Jean and Barry ended, but I can only assume that Jean didn't get the response she was hoping for, because the next thing she did was call the police. And by 5:38 p.m., just 23 minutes later, District Attorney Investigator Alex Walker had been informed that Suzanne Morphew was missing. At 5:45 p.m., Barry's phone rang again. Another call from Jean. I'm assuming to let him know she had alerted the authorities and that he should probably get home as soon as he could. Still, he didn't rush. In fact, 10 minutes later, Barry is seen making several trips to his truck, moving tools from his truck into the hotel lobby. At around 6:10 p.m., hotel surveillance shows him entering the lobby carrying 2 shovels and placing them beside the front desk. He made multiple trips, leaving more tools in the same spot. Why was he moving his tools into the lobby of all places? He never explained. Meanwhile, back in Salida, Macy's boyfriend, Miles Hardin, had arrived at the Morphew house. Remember, Macy and her sister Mallory were out on a camping road trip with a friend, and it's safe to assume that Macy had been keeping Miles up to speed on things, telling him their mom hadn't responded all day. So when she asked him to swing by the house to take a look around, he didn't hesitate. He knew the family well. He was there all the time, familiar enough to know Suzanne's biking routes, even what she usually wore on a ride. Miles let himself in through the garage, and right away, he noticed the same thing Jean had. Suzanne's Range Rover was there, her purse and other belongings were inside, but no Suzanne and no Suzanne's bike. So he got back in his truck and decided to take a drive by some of the nearby areas he knew she'd normally go to ride. It was just after 7 o'clock. Barry was already winding his way back through the Rockies towards home when he got a call from detectives. He told them Suzanne went on bike rides all the time, usually leaving the house around 8 or 9 a.m., which suggested maybe something happened on her ride. Then, at around 7:36 p.m., deputies searching near County Road 225 spotted something just off the side of the dirt road, less than a mile from the Morphew home and not far from the woods between the house and Highway 50. In body cam footage from the officers on the scene, you can hear them calling her name as they make their way through the lightly forested area. And then, there it is, a blue mountain bike with light blue pedals. It's laying on a steep, grassy hillside. The officer climbs over several large boulders to get closer. His camera captures what we see next. The handlebars on the bike are twisted completely backward, like the bike had been set at the top of the hill and pushed down, twisting on impact, then collapsing where it landed. But there are no skid marks, no drag lines, no blood, not even footprints. It's weird. It doesn't look like a crash. And it doesn't feel like a scene where someone panicked and ran off. It looks more like someone had rolled the bike right off the edge of the road and walked away. The officer continues making his way to the bike. He untangles the handlebars, and as he's wheeling it through the forest floor, he radios it in.
Salida, checking, buddy. Can you try to call the husband and see that type of right now I'm staring at a Santa Cruz blue in color?
Next, body cam footage shows the officer walking the bike up a hill and rolling it onto the Morphew driveway, leaning it against their vehicle. As they approach, a young man walks out of the garage.
Are you?
Okay, so I'm the daughter's boyfriend.
It's Miles.
Okay.
And I'm here.
Is this your truck?
That's my truck.
He identifies himself and explains to deputies who he is and why he's there. He shared that he had just returned from driving around hoping to spot her, but there was no sign. And when they asked him if she ever rode her bike up the steep trail near County Road 225, Miles pushed back. He said Suzanne was a great mountain biker, but she would never have gone up that trail. Here's Miles describing the trail in the officer's body cam.
She's a big mountain biker. She normally takes her car, and her bike's normally in the back of that. It's gone. Stuff.
Okay, has she ever gone up 225?
Colorado Trail right there?
Like, you know the big hill once you come off the highway?
Well, she hasn't, and I haven't checked there yet because that climb at the beginning is really hard.
Yeah.
And I think that it would be out of characteristic for her to do that, but I mean, someone needs to go there, I think.
Why would you say it is, like, on camera?
Well, because it's kind of a crazy,
Okay.
it's kind of a crazy climb to get up there.
All
It's like not really rideable. You got to push your bike before you can start riding.
All right.
Yeah.
Shortly after this, Miles gestures down the driveway and lets officers know that his parents had just arrived. As they approach, Miles is describing Suzanne's biking attire and helmet to the officers.
Do you know what she usually wears when she goes riding?
She has a couple different sets of clothing in terms of what she wears riding, so I'm not sure exactly what she put on today.
Okay, what are some of the outfits she wears?
Blue shorts, like turquoise blue shorts. She has a blue helmet, which she always wears.
Okay.
Like turquoise blue helmet.
His dad suggests looking for photos on Instagram, and then he says,
You guys have her bike, though?
Yeah, we do.
But not her?
Not her.
Okay.
this was the first confirmation it was Suzanne's bike. Miles' dad continued right on.
Where'd you find her bike?
Off of that road that I was asking you about.
Oh,
where you said it was
in
on
Chavano.
Just right out here on the road.
Right out there, okay.
Right where you thought.
Where that road takes off up the...
The Mount Shavano trailhead, more specifically, the Angel of Shavano trailhead, isn't exactly a beginner route. It's accessed by a rough dirt road that usually requires a high clearance vehicle, or very careful driving, depending on conditions. According to all trails, the trail itself is rocky, technical, and shared by both hikers and mountain bikers. It's considered two-way, but definitely not ideal for beginners. So when Miles said Suzanne would never ride that trail, he wasn't exaggerating. A little later, in the same body cam footage, one of the officers begins asking Miles some more direct questions, specifically about Suzanne and Barry's relationship. At first, Miles hesitates, like he's not sure what to say. But his dad jumps in and tells him he can answer honestly. That's when Miles speaks up. He tells the officer that Suzanne and Barry had been having problems and that Suzanne had confided in people close to her. He didn't go into detail, but it was enough to raise eyebrows. Because by that point, the scene wasn't feeling like a missing persons case anymore. It was starting to feel like something else entirely. At 8:46 p.m., Barry finally pulled into the driveway. Officers were still on scene, standing near the bike, waiting. And as Barry stepped out of his truck, he seems upset.
Where is it? Where's the bike?
Oh, it's right there.
Where was it?
It was like just right down
But he
here.
didn't ask where Suzanne was. He didn't ask if they'd seen any sign of her. He asks if there could have been a bike crash.
Was it a crash?
I mean,
The police officer shares that it could have happened, but that the bike was not damaged. Barry cut in with one word.
Lion?
Yeah, it was just
An officer replied, yes, that they had found a bike lying on its side. But Barry cut him off again.
Was it no lion? Mountain lion?
The officer paused here, clearly confused, and told Barry there was no sign of a mountain lion. The two of them continue talking for a few more minutes here. Then Barry brings it up again, and again, officers reiterated. They saw nothing that made them think mountain lion. No tracks, no evidence of a struggle, nothing that pointed to a mountain lion. In an effort to get the search for Suzanne Morphew off on the right foot, investigators asked Barry if they could collect an article of her clothing, something she might have worn on a ride to aid scent dogs or future evidence collection. So, at 9:38 p.m., officers escorted Barry inside of his own house, through the hallways, and into his own bedroom closet. There, Barry pointed to a pair of Suzanne's biking shorts lying on the floor. The officer, wearing blue gloves, asked Barry if he could get him a Ziploc or a paper bag. Barry stepped out and walked to the kitchen, the body cam officer following behind. Moments later, Barry handed the bag over, and the officers met in the living room where they stuffed the bike shorts in and zipped it closed. The shorts were black with a teal waistband and a padded seat, clearly made for cycling. Officers escorted Barry out of the house with the item in hand. Barry's truck and the patrol cars were still parked in the driveway, red and blue lights flashing across the perfectly landscaped entrance. Just before reaching the end of the walkway, the officer wearing the body cam turned to his partner.
Hey, Anthony. Can I speak to you over there once we get back? Yeah.
His partner walked Barry over to a well-lit spot near their vehicles and asked him to wait there for a moment. Then, once out of earshot, the two officers conferred, still holding the Ziploc bag. The body cam officer whispered to the other,
So, do you realize what you grabbed, right? Those shorts? Yeah, those are for mountain biking. Yeah.
They recalled what Miles and his parents had described earlier that night, about what Suzanne typically wore on bike rides. And that's when it clicked. If Suzanne wasn't wearing them that morning, it raised a chilling possibility. She may have never gone on that ride at all. By nightfall, on Mother's Day, May 10th, 2020, Suzanne Morphew had officially been reported missing. And in a matter of hours, the quiet hills outside Salida were swarming. Local deputies, search and rescue teams, volunteers, neighbors, dogs, drones, all of them looking for a sign of Suzanne. That first night, the focus was narrow. Search the home, scan the trails, retrace the route where her bike was found. But nothing made sense. Her mountain bike had been discovered at the bottom of a steep ravine, less than a mile away from her home. It wasn't damaged. It wasn't tangled in brush. There were no scrapes or drag marks, no blood. It just looked out of place.
Suzanne? Yeah.
There were no tire marks veering off the dirt road above, no footprints nearby, no signs of a struggle, no signs of Suzanne. And nothing shared about the scene matched either of Barry's implied scenarios. So, the search pushed on. Volunteers on foot combed the trails. Dive teams searched the river. Cadaver dogs were brought in. Flyers went up around Salida and Buena Vista. Family and friends posted online. Barry offered a $100,000 reward for her safe return, and a family friend matched that offer to bring the reward to $200,000. And then on May 13th, 3 days after Suzanne disappeared, the search teams found what they believed to be Suzanne's bicycle helmet, identifiable by its teal color in a prior photo. The helmet was located less than a mile northwest of where her bike had been found, 10 meters south of Highway 50, and about a mile and a half from the Morphew residence. It was undamaged and laying there as if someone had just chucked it out their window. Investigators found a paper inside the helmet listing Suzanne's name, address, and contact numbers for Barry, Mallory, and Macy. The helmet was collected as evidence. 4 days later, Barry went public.
Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you, we miss you, your girls need you. No questions asked, however much they want. I will do whatever it takes to get you back. Honey, I love you, and I want you back so bad.
It was short, a 25-second plea recorded on his cell phone. It was posted by family to Facebook. No press conference, no interview, just Barry. Center frame, sitting outside, the spring trees wisping in the blurred background. He's looking directly into the camera, asking for Suzanne. And then, silence. Days passed. No updates, no sightings, no Suzanne. The community kept showing up, hoping for a miracle. But behind the scenes, investigators were already starting to ask a different question. Not just where is Suzanne Morphew, but what really happened that morning on Puma Path. The night ended with a missing woman, a staged bike, and a husband who mentioned mountain lions before anyone asked a single question. But that was just the beginning. In the days that followed, the clues started piling up, quietly and inside the Morphew home. A plastic needle cap found tangled in their daughter's bed sheets, a spy pen tucked into a bin of bras holding intimate recordings Suzanne never meant for Barry to hear, and a trail of transactions that suggested Barry was preparing for life without Suzanne. Selling property, cashing out assets, and even voting in her name. On part 2 of this case, the secrets hidden in their bedroom, the voices captured on tape, and the details that would eventually lead to Barry Morphew's arrest, without a body. Special thanks to CrimeTimeline.com and the incredible community of online sleuths on Reddit for continuing to piece together this timeline. To see the body cam footage, photos of the case, Barry Morphew's plea video, and more, visit sequesteredpod.com.